All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our executive board meeting tonight. It's Thursday, December 1st, 2022, 8 p.m. In attendance tonight, we have Ryan McCarthy, Dean Packard, Dave Bellantoni. We have Tom McCarthy, John Billis, George Valerie, Derek Lewis, and who just went off the screen? Somebody else went off the screen. Okay, the beauty of technology. Obviously, we have our agenda in front of us tonight, so we want to roll through that as quickly as we can, but we want to prepare for the upcoming season to the highest level also. So first thing we have on the agenda tonight is review of Monday's general board meeting. Obviously, that meeting is set up to be able to answer any questions that anyone may have had regarding the 75 question exam. I think you all know that I have put the answers up. I sent a subsequent email out to the entire board so they had access to those answers. So at this point in time, if it's okay with the executive board, I would like to create a form. On that form, send it out to the board membership and have them put down any questions that they may have had that they would like us to potentially review during Monday night session. But I'll also open it up for discussion if there's something more than that you'd like to see done. So let's broach that topic now, if we could collectively together.
I'll make a motion that you put that up.
Yeah.
Second.
Good. All those in favor?
Third.
Any discussion?
No, I think it's the best way to do it. I mean, if you can see which ones are done specifically, and then obviously set up time if one isn't covered that somebody really wants to go over.
Okay. All right, we have unanimous, I believe, across the board here. Everybody? All right, thank you very much. I'll have that form up. I'll put that in the email that I send out later on tonight or tomorrow morning to the entire board in preparation for Monday's meeting, along with the link for the meeting as well. Next thing that we have on our agenda is the body piercing plug ruling. I'm going to turn that over to Tom McCarthy because I was tattooed by that question. And I said, ask somebody who's smarter than me because I didn't get into the rule that much. So body piercing plugs.
Okay. Got a call the other night from, initially a text and then ended up being a call with Mara Hackinson, the girls coach at Shepherd Hill. She has a player that has a body piercing, I'm guessing in the face, up on the cheek. And she knew she couldn't wear the piercing during a game, but she wondered if she could wear what she called a retainer. Now, for the better part of 65 years, I thought a retainer was something you stuck in your mouth after you had braces, but apparently that's a what do I know thing. Apparently the function of a retainer is to preserve the opening that the piercing goes in. I asked someone who's more knowledgeable on piercings than myself, namely my wife, if it was possible for a piercing opening to close in the hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes it takes to play a basketball game. And she said, if it's a new enough opening, yes, absolutely it could. So this girl wants to preserve the opening with what she calls a retainer, and Mara wanted to know if that was legal. My initial thought was if it was soft and flush to the skin, it probably would be, but I also said that I would check with our interpreter. And Gus and I talked, and he agreed with me that if it was soft and flush to the skin, it was probably legal. I conveyed that to her and then decided to do a little digging through the rule book after a conversation with another official from another board who said you might want to look deeper into it. And he did, and I did, and we came up with Rule 2, Section 18, Paragraph B. Soft or otherwise, retainers or plugs are illegal. They cannot be worn. And when I called Mara back to convey that to her, she said, well, it turns out it wasn't going to be soft anyway. The retainer the girl wanted to use was glass. Ooh. So she wanted to go from a metal piece to a glass piece in her face. That's not happening. I don't think we should, as officials, go searching for these things. But if we see it, we have to address it. And certainly if a coach comes up to you with a player and says, hey, Dean, is this legal? And points it out to you, then you have to get rid of it. I don't think we have a choice. The liability is too much. If that piece of glass or whatever comes out and flies into another kid's eye, and we knew it was there and let it happen, we're as guilty as everybody. So
I never thought I'd see the day we'd be answering those questions.
I never thought I would either, but here we are.
Here we are.
Back to being more than the fashion police. So Mara's all good with it. She didn't want the kid wearing it at all. She just wanted the backing. And I guess the kid said, well, it was never a problem in AAU, which just made me laugh. And she said, I also wore goggles to cover it. And Mara said, look, we've got a pretty good reputation down here at Shepherd Hill as having a real good rapport with the officials. And I'm not going to let you or anyone else compromise that by trying to hide something from them. So God bless Mara for doing that. So at least on the Shepherd Hill side, it's not going to be an issue because the kid wants to wear it. She can go play in the driveway because she's not setting foot on Shepherd Hill's court. But just something to be aware of because these kids are, Dean sees it at school. My wife sees it at her middle school. Ryan sees it at his. They pierce everything.
Yep.
Nothing's out of bounds. So, just something. I'm going to be late to the meeting on Monday because I have a 5:30 scrimmage, but I'll probably jump on the ride home. Just something to bring up. We don't have to go into the deep dive that we just did. I think all you do is say, look, the soft plug or retainer is not legal. None of them are.
But don't go fishing for it if you
Right.
don't
Don't go
it.
looking for it. If you don't see it, don't worry about it. But kid walks by you in warm-ups and it's obvious that it's there or the piercing's still in.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's got to come out. I know I got a plug to put in it. No, the plug doesn't go in either.
The plugs must be a news thing because it was always just keep a Band-Aid over it.
Right.
Is the plug the smaller than the merchandise logo that we have to measure to?
Yeah, you got to bring your tape measure out here.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
Yeah. And Cal, I'm gonna go into the shop at work and get tree calipers that we measure, the diameter of the trunk with, because I think those will come in handy at some point this season too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good discussion on that. Let's hope that many don't cross that road this year. But now that we have it out there, Jim, will you be at the meeting on Monday night?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Between you and Gus, when you're answering the questions, what I will do when I make that form, I will give you guys access to that form so you can see the questions at hand ahead of time for preparation purposes.
Okay. Yeah, and the last time that I talked to Gus, we also said too that we'll go through the test and pick out a few questions that we could see that could cause trouble, but maybe people didn't put them on the Google Doc. So we were going to look at that too. Okay. And I just want to add one more thing to that plug thing. I'll talk to Gus about it. We don't have to get into discussion now, but the gauges that kids wear in their ears to keep the hole bigger. It's not a piercing. I'll talk to Gus about that too to see if there is any word on that, because that will probably come up too. I've already seen them at the college level twice, and we'll actually allow it at the college level as long as they're plastic, because they are flush with the ear, and as long as they're not too big to where a finger can go through it.
I was gonna say it's actually probably safer than just having the ear flapping in the wind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they allow it. So I'll talk to
Yeah.
Gus about that too, because that'll probably be asked if we go over this plug thing. So
Yeah, check the rule I cited, 218.
okay, yeah, I wrote it down. 218B. Yep.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
take a
pretty
look at it.
specific as to what you can and can't do, and it pretty much says nothing is legal.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look. I'll actually grab my book now while we're sitting here, see if I can find it.
Perfect. Thank you,
It's
guys.
page 19, Jimmy.
Just adding that to the notes as well. All right, thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll review that on Monday night. Just a quick communication out to the board membership. I have updated the Zoom platform. I did decide, took a fiduciary position in regards to spending either $700 or $159.27. I thought it was in the benefit of the board to go with the $159.27 fee. That allows us to have 100 participants at a time on any Zoom meeting. We've never exceeded that. I can go up to 150 or 200 based upon how many come. But the reality is, when we record these meetings, I believe that, again, going back in time, I can't see anything historically that had us over 100. So for now, I just thought it would be the right move. I have submitted an email to George. George has recognized the email, and he's going to reimburse me personally for that. Okay, just wanted that to be on the record, just so people know.
On it.
Okay, perfect. Discussion on rule night dates. I know that's something we talked about at our last meeting. I know that we probably wanted to get something out before Thanksgiving, but is this something we still want to try to get out to assigners to pick a date and time for that? That is for the coaches to be able to talk to us as officials, Worcester County coaches.
My guess is that now that we're in season, the attendance would be minimal at best.
Okay.
Because
I mean,
teams are playing games are 5-6 days a week now. It's no longer relegated to Tuesday, Friday.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you could have a Sunday morning. You could offer a Sunday morning, like 10 a.m. session too, if that would, just.
The only problem with Sunday morning, you get a lot of travel coaches on Sunday morning that are doing that. So Sunday
we're
evening.
directed that at high school. We're directing these at high school coaches, all right?
That is correct. Well, any coaches, I think you put it out there, I think it travels quickly. If people are looking for any type of feedback.
Right, but we are, in essence, we are a high school board.
Correct.
So,
yep.
I mean, if a travel coach can make it, great, but I wouldn't forego it just on that basis.
Okay.
I think the coaches would appreciate it no matter when it's done. I mean, you could offer it at 8:00 too on a Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever time, assuming that most practices are done by 7:30. Even 8:00, they could hop on a little bit later.
Yeah, you'll miss if you do it like on a Monday. The number of games on a Monday is minimal.
The regular season starts next Friday, correct?
Yeah,
Thursday actually is the first day it can
Next
be on.
Thursday.
You could offer
Hey, Dean,
Tuesday
can I
or
interrupt
Wednesday.
for 1 second?
Yeah,
I heard
please.
back from Gus.
Yep.
He said it says I need an update. I have no idea what that means, but
Oh, he needs to update it on his end.
Yeah, Zoom will update. It should do it on its own. It
Just
doesn't
tell them to hit
take long.
update, and then it should let them right in.
Right.
okay, I will tell him that.
Great. So general consensus that we still offer it up in case that this is something that might be beneficial. I still think it's a good courtesy. I know we're getting out of the gate a little bit late trying to do it, but I do think, and I agree with what was said earlier, that coaches would still be open and probably still join, even if it's early in the season.
Yeah, I think they'd rather know at any point early in the season than us offering it like the middle of January and be like, oh, by the way, you want to meet?
Mhm.
Even if they've already
Especially-
played a game, it'll be okay.
Especially with the new hair rule, with what they can have in their hair, to really let at least the girls coaches know this is what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, because I have a feeling we're going to run into a lot of problems this year with kids finding out what those rules are, and trying to push them as, far as possible. And, one night, one official is going to say, oh yeah, that one's fine. Then the next night, no. So that at least we can tell those coaches, what the acceptable rule is in that sense, so that they can pass it to their players. So at least that I would say, just as a starting point would be something good to go over the coaches.
Well, I'll make a recommendation, or at least I'll throw it out there. How would Sunday night, December 11th at 8 p.m. gives us, I can get a link out tomorrow to all the assigners and they can flush it out. That gives everybody a week to plan.
I'm good with that.
Yep, that'll work.
Anybody against that? I would ask Jim and Gus if your schedules are open on that particular night, 8 p.m., December 11th.
I'm going to take a quick look right now.
Yep. Hi, Gus.
Hi. Yeah, I should be fine that night.
Again, I think it's a courtesy that we started that was well received, and I would love to continue with it. And I kind of dropped the ball. I apologize. I probably should have got that up pre-Thanksgiving, but everybody got a little busy here. So I think anytime we get it out, it's still going to be a win. I would also like to kick it out to the Fitchburg board, the interpreter, and Milford, if at all possible. Are we in agreement?
That's fine.
Yep.
I'm good that night as well.
Okay. And if any other interpreters want to join us and you have their cell phone numbers, you want to text them and let them know, that would be great too.
Yeah, I think we'll just keep it at Fitchburg and Milford.
In Milford. I think that covers our central level of Central Mass. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to make that a note. And good. All right. I will have that link out to you guys by tomorrow. Moving on the agenda, new class update. Thank you, everybody who put the time in to do the floor testing and the floor experience for the officials. We've had a couple of opportunities. Anybody want to speak to that?
I will, because I somehow ended up in charge last night. We had the floor test last night. All but 4 people came. Trevor Linga, his girlfriend had a baby on Tuesday, so he was obviously tied up with that. Trafisha had work or some other obligation. I forget who the third one was. And Sarah Newberry was on her way and a tree limb fell out of a tree and hit her car. So she had damage to the vehicle and couldn't make it. All 4 of them are going to come to watch. They were all coming to Wachusett anyway. So we will do their floor tests at Wachusett. The others that were there were 9 of them. They all passed. Interesting group. Ran pretty much the gamut from someone who looked like they've been doing it for 2 or 3 years. Very smooth, very polished, to borderline, oh my God. The person that was in the oh my God category, we passed, but with the caveat that he can work middle school and below only. He needs a lot of work. He wants to do it. He wants to do well. He's willing to put in the time and the effort. I had a nice conversation with him at the end when we told him that this is what we had decided. He understood. He, the first thing I said to him, I said, look, you're a bright guy. You struggled tonight. And he said, yeah, I did. So he was very self-aware. Good group as far as taking advice and criticism and that sort of thing. So, one of the better classes I've seen as far as that, and as far as they all have a work ethic. So I think we got some things to work with here, some good stuff. And they're all coming to Wachusett on Saturday, except of course the guy that we have is the restricted to middle school or below.
Who was that?
Dominic.
Dominic.
the heavyset kid.
Oh, the big kid. Okay, the big
Yeah.
young kid. Yeah, he's very young.
Very young.
Yeah.
Like I said, needs an awful lot of work.
Yep.
Tom Wilson also is not going to make it. He's got youth games. He's already working youth games on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
Tom, refresh me that time, December 4th at what time?
Third,
December 3rd, Saturday.
Sorry. Yep.
as well.
The thing starts at noon. We're telling everyone to be there at 11:30 so we can get set up and explain to them what's going on. Because it's, for someone new, it's going to be kind of overwhelming because there's going to be 3 courts, 9-10 teams there. It's it's a circus, but a highly organized circus. Jimmy Oxford puts together a great program, and everything is, timed out to the minute. And it starts right at noon, and at 12:20 the horn goes and everybody rotates into the next game or to their rest period, and it just bangs out over 3 hours. So
It's done by 3?
done at 3.
Okay.
Last horn will be at 2:59, guaranteed.
All provisional members have been notified via email. Which
They
I
have been
saw.
notified and reminded, and they were reminded again earlier this week because I put the whole thing on Arbiter and assigned them through Arbiter like it was a regular game.
Good.
So that they got a reminder email the way we all do when we have a game coming up. So there should be no excuse.
Have you had feedback from membership that's going to be there that day to help out?
The executive committee for the most part, and Jen Plonson's going to be there. I thought it was important to have, seeing as we now have multiple females new on the board in the last couple of years. Thought it was kind of important to have a female there, a female presence, and someone who's, is working a pretty good schedule, has some experience. So I think we're in good shape as far as our numbers, as far as observers and stuff.
Thank you. Thank you for your work organizing that as well, Tommy. Appreciate it. Obviously, with Bartlett not happening this year, it does pose a little bit of an issue. But again, we streamline now. Everybody has one spot to go to, so it might make it a little smoother for us across the board. So again, appreciate your time and efforts. So we've already talked about rules night consideration. So now let's talk about sportsmanship update. Did get an email from Charlie Fisher asking us to take a look at the sportsmanship paperwork that he's going to submit this year. He wanted feedback from the executive committee. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to click on the link that was in the agenda or not. Doesn't look like he's changed much except for maybe the way that donations might be sought after as well. But I just wanted to make sure that all of you as an executive board had a chance to look at that before I tell him yes or no.
Are we talking sportsmanship or scholarship?
Scholarship. Thank you. Why would I have sportsmanship down there? Scholarship. Thank you. I have scholarship on the thing. I don't know why I put the other thing on the link. Let me make that adjustment right now. So those of you who are in front of a computer, if you want to click on it, just to get it so you can say you saw it. Change. It's 1 and here 2. That has been updated on the agenda. Thank you very much, Tom. Okay, any questions, concerns, or discussion based upon Charlie's work?
Yeah, here's my first question. The second piece about asking members for money
Mhm.
on top of their dues. I'm hesitant for us to do that.
Yep.
In the sense that we already have people discussing what dues they're paying and what they're going for. If we say, hey, could you add another for this? We as an executive committee may get backlash in that, well, aren't you already taking money out of my dues already to go to that? I think if that's something that he himself wants to ask separately, it may be received a little bit differently than we as an executive committee doing that for him. That was my initial thought on that piece.
I'm gonna piggyback on that and say you're probably 100% spot on. Given the fact that our dues are still they are the highest, I think, in the area, if I'm not mistaken. George, am I correct?
Highest, well, we got a few boards that are the same as we are.
Same as 125, okay. So, and again, and that 125 has always been one of the things that membership has always questioned in regards to, what we do, how we use it, and things of that nature. So asking for additional funding will probably cause some alarm to individuals.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I do. The way he words it also, as far as the scholarship recipients, I think should be restricted to immediate family only. When we were having tournaments and they were raising money, that's okay. But we don't have that now for that. Now, a discussion that I had with a couple members of the executive board just in passing about this. Do we want to earmark, not increase the dues? Absolutely not, 100% against that, or even asking for more money. But do we want to earmark $15, $10 a member that goes into a separate scholarship fund out of the dues? That's something that has to be looked at so we can sustain this program. We haven't had a fundraiser going on 4 years, and we've still given out scholarships. So I refer to the board.
I agree, George. I mean, we could look at where all of our money is going to as far as what the dues are paying for. And if there's, I think the more things that we can say that the dues are going to, then we're setting ourselves up for more success in keeping them where they're at and keeping people away from those. Well, I'm paying this. What am I getting for it? Well, here's all the things that your dues are going for, including that scholarship fund.
I agree, Ray, but the one thing that I'm a little apprehensive about is if we say to them, it's 125, we pay $35 to IBO to be a member out of that. We pay another, say, $7 for your insurance.
Yeah.
Then we pay for the banquet / social. And then certain people might say, wait a minute, you got $53 per man or per member that you're not using. This is the time to reduce it. I agree with you kind of to find out where everything goes, and I can put that out to the executive committee. But as far as putting it out to the membership, I'm a little leery about that.
Well, yeah, I think it was more so, and I should have worded it differently. It was more so for us to see where it's at and how then we can kind of itemize it to best fit what we're trying to accomplish here with not ruffling any feathers and making sure that people we're continuing to have a strong membership that only a select few are worried about dues while everyone else is saying it's 1 or 2 game fees and then I'm done.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we can just do the earmarking as part of the budgetary process. We don't have to make a big formal announcement about it. This is, it's the cost of the board doing business.
So there's
we need a motion.
We need to fund the scholarship. It's got to come from somewhere.
Any existing bylaws that would protect the integrity of the dues and how those dues are laid out? And if there are, then obviously there would need to be a motion for any type of changes. So I would have to go back and look at that. There's nothing in the bylaws?
I don't believe so, but I can look at it in the morning.
Yeah. So executive committee has the ultimate power to utilize the funds that come in any capacity they see fit.
pretty much.
Okay.
And you're always going to run into people that, someone in, not, I would never do this, but there are people in my position. Both my kids got a scholarship, and there's no other kids coming out of my individual household. My grandson is Ryan's issue, not, as far as that. And just, people are going to say, well, I got mine. So, I don't want anything to do with a scholarship fund. No, don't spend a dime on scholarships. I already got mine. I'm done. And that happens in any organization that hands out scholarships.
Do we know what other boards that are adjacent to us do for scholarships and how they roll theirs out?
I don't know that anyone else does it besides us.
I can reach out, but I think Tommy's right on there. Nobody does what Board 26 does.
I've been to a lot of, I've been to several of the Milford banquets. And when 44 up in Fitchburg had a banquet, I got invited pretty much every year. And I do not recall them ever announcing. And I mean, that's something you announce at a scholarship, at a banquet rather. Hey, we handed out $800 in scholarships, and here's who it went to.
Correct.
And I don't recall it, but if George wants to check with his fellow secretaries and confirm it, but I just, off the top of my head, I don't recall it.
I will do that. That's not a problem.
I
I
would
think
go out
it-
on a limb and just recognize the hard work that Charlie Fisher and Lee DePass and the group puts together to do that every single year. And even the people who used to do the tournament at Venerini, that's a lot of work. There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Yep.
So, in order to make
I
it
think along that lines, I think you're with Veterini and the other tournaments that we had, it was the ability to get a drop because people are paying to play. So where it is, how we're talking now, it's the members that are paying the scholarship. However it's worded or however it comes out, members are paying for the scholarship. So if you put it to the members, they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna want to reject it and say, I don't want to pay for it. Is there a way we can also look into fundraising opportunities to kind of augment that as well? Like aside from tournaments, I know we're a basketball board, but are there
Right.
other things we can do to
Yeah,
fundraise to try to raise money?
Charlie mentioned, 50, we've done 50-50 raffles in the past, but where X number of our meetings are no longer in person, that's kind of impossible to do. You can't do a 50-50 raffle from everybody's den. But you certainly could do it at like the interpretation meeting and the social. And if we ever go back to a formal banquet, it's just my personal opinion, you don't run raffles at a banquet. I don't know, a banquet's a little more formal thing than the social. But I'd be open to a discussion on that too, if that's what someone wanted to do.
George, do we have funding to sustain this calendar year in regards to the number of scholarships that he has given, or no?
He hasn't told me what he's waiting for permission from us before he puts that out. So we don't know how many scholarships there will be. So I couldn't tell you that. As far as the scholarship fund being a separate fund and having the money from the past years of fundraising, that's exhausted.
Yeah.
But as far as our own account, our own accounts are thriving. There's no issue there whatsoever. It almost makes me nervous at times at the amount of money we do have. So,
Sure.
So at $200, if I'm hearing this correctly, George, say it. We in the past practice has been what, $200 a scholarship, right?
250, Tom.
50.
250. Okay, we could easily sustain 10, 15 at least, if not more scholarships.
Being the treasurer, I would be happy with 10.
Okay. And I don't think we're gonna see 10.
Right.
But
Looking at $2,500.
My question, going back to that, is there an amount that you members would like to be earmarked when these dues are being collected now, to me to put it in a separate spreadsheet that says this is scholarship?
Even if it's $10 per active member or non-active member? It's still
Yeah.
I think
a small
$10
percentage.
You tell
appropriate.
me.
yeah, I think that's the only way really to do it, the only way to track it.
Right, $10 per paying member goes to this fund.
Goes to scholarship, that gives you all right, Charlie, here's your budget.
A sawbuck is
Figure it
plenty.
out.
It'll sustain itself at those kind of numbers at a sawbuck a person, unless our membership drastically drops.
Right.
Okay, I'll start that.
I
Yep.
think that sounds like a really good idea, and I think it has limited to no impact because people have already paid their dues. It's just a reallocation of the funding that we have internally to support the programs we have in place. And if you think of
Right.
it for a second, it's a win-win when you can offer those type of opportunities and monies up for scholarships for individuals within our board. So
Yeah, instead
So
of
for this first year, right, we're saying we're struggling with some money for this first year. Should we just take and allocate 10 scholarships to that new fund and then start moving forward with that $10?
Yes.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could pull 2,500 out and fully fund this year, and then worry about collecting now for next year off the dues.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like,
Yeah.
we'll just say 2,500 is now because of COVID. We haven't had this stuff. We're taking 2,500 out of our budget, putting it over here to cover that scholarship, and then moving forward, XYZ is happening.
Not a problem. And I will check with my co-treasurers and other boards to see if they do anything for scholarships.
Yeah.
Now, would we have to, in some form or fashion, make members aware that their dues are being allocated for that?
I
Not
think we
saying
have to look at the bylaws for that.
No, we do not.
I have it in the executive committee meeting notes here. If they read it, they're gonna see it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything structurally from what we're asking of them to do. It's the executive board's purview to be able to work in the capacity of utilizing those funds for programs that we have in place.
Yeah.
So again, instead of fundraising, because I'll be very honest with you, nobody has time to fundraise anymore. Nobody wants to get involved with that. It's like pulling teeth. So if we can reallocate funding and still maintain the strong fiscal position of the board, it still makes sense to be able to offer those types of opportunities for our own membership and their kids.
Yep. And it in the end, when we have the social, one of the things that's on every table is George's report, his treasurer's report. And this will be right on there. $2,500 scholarship. And Dean will stand up in front and go through the whole thing and the whole agenda and say, the treasurer's report. Anyone have any questions? And the first question is going to be, yeah, when do we eat? And that'll be the end of it. So
Generally how it rolls. Yep.
Yep.
That's how it goes. Again, and the more that we are transparent up front like this, the easier those conversations are on those nights. Believe me, because we can always say refer back to the opportunity to know what we're doing. Okay.
Yep.
Everything we're doing is acting in the integrity of the board that has been created long before us. So we're sustaining and not asking for an increase in dues in any capacity.
Nope.
So that makes a lot of sense.
George,
This money is better spent on scholarships than just sitting in an account.
Of course it is.
George, how many members do we have that pay dues?
I'm gonna say about 138.
Yeah.
Right.
Give or
Tough
take.
question. Tough questions. I won't have that answer till the social. but we're looking in the 130 ballpark. I got 181 people on there now. And that was something I wanted to ask before we get off here tonight, is that these new members will be uploaded to IBO National on Monday. I'm a little concerned, Tom, by saying that Wilson's working this weekend because he's not going to be covered under insurance if he gets hurt. So that's the first I heard that one of
Yeah,
the
well,
provisionals was
I
working.
think he's aware of that too.
I
Okay,
think
all
he's been working, I think he's been working a rec league for the last few years as
Oh, okay.
as a non-IBO person. And I think
Okay.
it's that continuous to work that same rec league.
Okay, all right. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make, and everybody, Tom, everyone, we're putting all these people who took the course, everyone passed, and we're making them official members, correct?
Yes, sir.
Hold on,
Okay.
hold on. This guy's been working as a non-IBO official in the league.
Yeah, a lot of people work youth leagues.
Yeah.
It's like a town league. Town leagues hire whoever they want. Like
Okay.
Sturbridge has high school kids that work their town league. They don't have to be certified to work a town league or a rec league.
I umpired Little League and Babe Ruth baseball in Shrewsbury for years.
Right.
And the only qualification is I owned a shirt and a chest protector. I wasn't patched by anybody.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just youth ball. It's not affiliated MIAA stuff. And that's the only time that you need to be certified, and you don't even have to do that anymore, according to the state board I just went to. We'll talk about a little bit of that later.
Okay, that brings me to the completion of our agenda. At this point in time, is there anything on open floor that anybody wants to bring up?
Bring up the state board.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Gus, I got something.
So Sunday we had a state board meeting, and it was pretty well attended, and they discussed the convention that's coming up in the spring. And Massachusetts is doing the spring convention. What they're asking for is that each board take out an ad in the ad book to support the overall cost of things. Now, IBO pays most of it, IBO International. The state boards don't have to do what they used to have to do. But every year they have a ad booklet. A full page ad is $150, a half page ad is $75. In the past, I think we've actually put in 3 full page ads. One from the membership, one from the executive committee, and one from
The officers.
the offices. Right.
You say 150 for a full,
Yeah.
75
That's-
for half?
Yeah, the thing we'd want to do is put our logo. We want to send the information, what they're for and who they're from, and all the names and everything listed, or from the executive committee, to Don Eppley. Now, who is our president of IBO going in is Ron Martell. And we should do them in, congratulations to Ron Martell, the incoming IBO president. I think he is.
Yeah. Is he on the Milford board, Gus?
Yeah, he's on the Milford board. He's a really nice guy. He's been helpful in the past to us years ago and things. Let's see, what else got brought up in the that meeting? Wasn't too much. We talked about the new rules. We talked about the MIAA stuff, rules, and things, but it was mostly about the convention. So I would recommend, or I'd like to put in a recommendation that we do the 3 full page ads from board 26 for
I would second that.
and things. So that'll kind of cover our asses at the state board level.
Gus, do you remember
only-
the year that we hosted it at the Sturbridge host? Was
Oh,
Billy,
yeah.
Billy's year? And
Yeah,
we
when
took
Billy
out
was-
3 or 4 full page and then half page ads where we just listed members' names, just
Yeah.
like in alphabetical order. It was,
Yeah, we don't need to do that though.
no, we had like half the ad book that year.
Right. Yeah.
Any further discussion on the 3 full-page ads? All those in agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
unanimous, done.
Gus,
All right.
where is the
That-
convention? Where are they holding it?
The convention is in Pennsylvania, down in Amish country, somewhere down there.
Okay.
I know the town, I don't know if it's Hattiesburg or if it's
Lancaster, Gus, he said.
Lancaster, there you go. That's it. Thanks, George. Now my other question is directed to George. George, can I get a rule book and a copy of the refresher test? Are you gonna be there Saturday? Did Tommy stay up at Wachusett?
It's online
I
too,
am-
Gus?
I'm not gonna be there, Gus.
Okay, at some point I need a new rule book. I went to my doctor's office and I ran into Stan Hilton. And I gave my rule book and my refresher test to Stan. Cause he was trying to figure out how the hell he could get a rule book. Cause he likes to have it and he always keeps up with it and stuff and he always does the refresher test. So I went to my car and gave him mine.
No problem. I'll put one in the mail to you. I don't,
All right,
George,
not an issue.
George, you gonna be out and about tomorrow?
I
Gonna be
am,
any-
but it'd be very difficult to get over there, Tommy.
Okay, because I was gonna say, if you
Yeah.
drop it off with me, I'll get it to him.
Yeah, it'd be tight, so I don't want to promise. If I don't get there, Gus, I'll definitely put it in the mail for you.
all right, yeah, if you could throw it in the mail, that'd be great.
Yep.
You can
Okay.
actually copy the exams on the last email communication too, so they're all.
Yeah, I can get the exam. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I just like to have a hard copy of it.
Yep.
Do my thing.
Yeah, if you
Oh.
print it off that, it'll just come out as a regular hard copy too, so whatever's easier for you.
Yeah. That way, I have to try to figure out how to use the printer here at the house in Sturbridge though.
No worries. No
So,
worries. We got a motion to adjourn. We're gonna probably run out of time on this meeting. I only did it for an hour, so.
okay.
Anybody want their name in there?
I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
I know it's a tough subject, but we're at that time of the year. As far as a stipend for the interpreter and a stipend for the secretary treasurer, what is your pleasure?
What was it last year?
$1,000.
Yep.
We haven't changed anything. Why do we?
I just, I'm just
Whatever.
putting it out there.
We have to vote on it by bylaw.
By bylaw, so let me make sure I make this in the notes here. Okay.
I motion that we enroll him in the Jelly of the Month Club. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
As long as I have mint jelly for my lamb.
Oh, okay,
I want grape.
I'll get you a jar of Welch's, Valerie.
Okay, the stipend for the interpreter is 1,000. And for the assistant,
Jimmy, what was it last year?
what was it last year?
Was it 400?
Yes. Jim Marine, you there?
He said yes.
Okay.
So make a motion to stay consistent with our payment as of a stipend to the interpreter and assistant interpreter based on $1,000 for the interpreter and $400 for the assistant interpreter.
Right, and then you gotta do George. What did you get last year, George? 1,000?
1,000, same as you.
And the
Yep.
secretary for 1,000. Let me add that. in.
Yep.
Yeah,
There you go, now your budget's down.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, we got
correct
a
on
lot-
mine too. Sorry, I didn't hit
There's a
you.
lot of
All right.
dues to be collected.
goodbye scholarships. Hello, George.
Okay,
All right. That good, everybody?
Good.
sounds good.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Who wants that? Ryan?
I got it.
Okay. Second,
Yep,
Dave Bellantoni. Thank you, Dave.
Sure.
Bill and Tony did something?
He did. He's smiling.
Thanks, Gus.
How's the menu, Dave? How's the menu?
We don't know yet. I'll call him.
Let me stop this
right, buddy.
recording. Hold on one second, gentlemen. And this recording has now